With us for more reaction is President Trump's attorney in the New York case. Joe Tacopina is with us. Joe, thanks for being with us. All right, so
Thanks,
I know there's a lot of chatter, a lot of rumors out there. To the extent you are able, the rumor is that there might be an indictment tomorrow, an arraignment sometime next week. Have you heard anything directly from the DA?
Not yet, no. They said they would notify us when there's a grand jury vote. And once that happens, I guess, depending on that vote, the next steps will be discussed. But I've not heard anything. Look, what we're hearing is what everyone else is hearing regarding timing and whatnot. I don't expect
the grand jury
anything to happen
convenes
this
tomorrow
week.
at 2 p.m. They're probably going to be done by 5 p.m.
Right.
So that would be the earliest that you might hear from them. I assume, per protocol, you would usually hear from them first, correct?
Per protocol, I mean, not a lot about this case is following protocol, but per protocol, we would normally hear from them first. But, again, I get a lot of my news from, the daily press briefings by Michael Cohen when he comes out of court. So, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen here, Sean?
Well, let's talk about that, because you have Bob Costello on this program tonight, and he appeared before the grand jury on Monday, called Cohen a serial liar. He would, I would assume, I guess, be the star witness for the prosecution, and going into detail, saying that, he called them up after he saw Cohen on TV, stating things that he knew that he was going to say to the grand jury, contrary to what he told them, not the least of which that he represented Donald Trump and that it was Michael Cohen saying that he did this on his own. Wouldn't that be a direct contradiction? And now the DA don't they have to pay attention to the fact that you've got somebody known to be a liar, a convict, versus somebody that is coming in and saying, no, that never happened? How does a jury react to that? You've done over 100 cases in New York.
Yeah, I mean, New York juries are very savvy. I know they're banking on the fact that New York juries might not like Donald Trump. New York juries are way too smart, and New York juries I have all the trust in the New York jury, because at the end of the day, they're going to do what they think's right. They all want to go home and look themselves in the mirror. Michael Cohen has the credibility of a pipe cleaner. I mean, he is absolutely no one that anyone could rest a case on. As a matter of fact, Alvin Bragg previously had said, and this is based on one of his assistant prosecutors' own comments, that I can't even look at the picture of this guy. He acts like he's a movie star. I mean, he's a felon who's bankrupt, has no law license, is a convicted liar and a perjurer, someone who couldn't say great things about Donald Trump every time he got in front of a camera, begged to get on TV to say how great Donald Trump was. Now, of course, he's trying to write a book and get his book sold. Putting him aside for a second, Bob Costello is someone who has no axe to grind here. That was his former client, and he came in and basically said that this guy is making up tales and telling stories. One thing he did, Michael Cohen, aside from pleading guilty to various lies and admitting to lying before Congress and amongst other things, having a taxi medallion issue separate and apart from anything to do with Donald Trump, where he was involved in that scheme to defraud. He's someone who's not, they can't embrace. And Alvin Bragg said he couldn't envision a world where he would bring a case based on the word of Michael Cohen. I guess he's changed his tune because he's succumbed to political pressure. And I will tell you, Sean, it's a sad day. It really is a sad day. I'm not, I can't tell you how upset I feel based on the fact that in my 32 years as a lawyer in practice, both as a prosecutor and defense lawyer, I have never seen anything close to this level of abuse of process and abuse of prosecutorial discretion. And it makes me sick to my stomach, quite frankly.
Let me quote the New York Times. I think liberals like the New York Times. I'm not particularly fond of it myself, but February 13, 2018, this is a quote from Michael Cohen. I am Mr. Trump's longtime special counsel. I have proudly served in that role for more than a decade. In a private transaction in 2016, I used my own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $130,000 to Miss Stephanie Clifford. Neither the Trump Organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with Miss Clifford, and neither reimbursed me for payment, either directly or indirectly. The payments to Miss Clifford were lawful, was not a campaign contribution or a campaign expenditure by anyone. He seems to contradict himself there.
Michael Cohen is a walking contradiction. of course he contradicts himself. Anything he says today, I could find you 5 different spots where he said something completely different. That you just hit the nail on the head, Joe. That's one of the best ones, right? I mean, this guy literally took out a loan to pay off this woman to resolve a case. And by the way, cases get resolved all the time. There's nothing improper about that, right? But he took out a loan to do it because he wanted to be the president's protector. And he was trying, showing full well firsthand that he was trying so hard to get into that White House, to have a role in the White House. That didn't quite work out for him. But he was trying to be the president's protector. And what he said right there is true to some extent. He engineered the deal. He did it on his own, took out a loan, and then went back and sought to get reimbursed for that and amongst that and other things, and he discussed that with the Trump CFO at the time, and worked out a legal retainer and invoiced legal fees over the course of a year. There's absolutely nothing improper about that at all.
We want justice here. Everybody should want justice, want fairness, want equal justice, want equal application of our laws. Joe Tacopina, thank you. We appreciate it.